might weep, but still my faith rests in you. As the heavens hold the skies, it's your hand that holds my life, and your love will lead me on when all else is gone. What have I in this life but the love in your eyes? This empty world will one day fade. Only your truth will remain. Jesus, all I have is you. You're the hope I'm holding to. I might weep, but still my faith rests in you. As the heavens hold the skies, it's your love that holds my life, and your love will lead me on when all else is gone. Jesus, all I have is you. You're the hope I'm holding to. I might weep, but still my faith rests in you. As the heavens hold the skies, it's your hand that holds my life, and your love will lead me on when all else is gone. Jesus, all I have is you. 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 What have I in this life?
Dance over me while I am unaware. You sing sky with miracles in mind. My hope will always stand, for you hold me in your hand. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me.
Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me. How deep, how wide, how great is your love for me. How deep, how wide, how great is your love for me. How deep, how wide, how great is your love for me. How deep, is your love for me. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you. Lord, I'm amazed by you and how you love me.
When the stars came crashing down in tiny pieces to the ground, I was all alone down here, trapped beneath the atmosphere, and I Thought somebody called my name. I spun around and caught a flame. Gave in to a God I didn't know. And now everything is falling into place. A brand new life is calling and I owe it all to grace. So much brighter living in your world. Savior, what you did for me. You gave me something I want everyone to see. When we struggle and it all goes wrong, only you can make it right. So I say, oh, I'm learning to be the light. Oh, I'm learning to be the light. When a heart is cold as ice, you can't melt it with advice. No one wants to listen to a list of things they shouldn't do. So I built a city on the hill and light a candle on the sill, knowing you'll be always knocking at the door. Oh God, I just wanna love on everyone. All I have is yours to give, so let the people come. So much brighter living in your world. Savior, what you did for me. You gave me something I want everyone to see. When we struggle and it all goes wrong, only you can make it right. So I say, learning to be the light. Oh, I'm learning to be the light. Oh, I'm learning to be the light that makes the shadows hide, the light that breaks the curse of pride, the light that takes the weary in its arms. When it all came crashing down, there was only darkness all around, but in the distance I could see a flame. So much brighter living in your world. Savior, what you did for me. You gave me something I want everyone to see. When we struggle and it all goes wrong, only you can make it right. So I say, learning to be the light. Oh, I'm 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 learning to be the light.
When you hear someone talk about the hardest thing, the most difficult thing that they've ever done, what usually comes to mind is maybe climbing some tall mountain, or running a marathon, or getting that degree, or finding that job that you've been looking for, or maybe getting that degree that you had talked about, or writing that paper, or whatever it happens to be, making amends, or trusting someone, or making that trip, whatever it is. But there's all these images that happen to come to mind whenever we talk about the hardest, the most difficult thing that we've ever had to do. Some of you are big fans of the TV series Walking Dead. The season premiere was last Sunday. Kind of weird to be talking about Walking Dead here in the church for so many reasons. Some of the most diehard fans at Courthouse who are watching Walking Dead are from the 8:30 worship service. Again, kind of an anomaly, but Anyway, they've been telling me about it, and because I don't have access to a television set that watches The Walking Dead show, I don't get to watch it this year right now. But that'll come one day. But anyway, so they've been sort of keeping me, dropping little teasers at the 8:30 service of what happened last Sunday in The Walking Dead. And the reason I bring that up today is in this context of the hardest thing you've ever done. Universal Studios in California has used The Walking Dead as their theme for this year's haunted house that they have open to the public. And they have gone all out, making it truly a frightening experience. This week, a video went online that went viral immediately after it went on, it seems like, about Amy and Andy. And while they're taking this Walking Dead haunted house tour at Universal Studios. Amy is a diehard haunted house fan. She loves it. She goes every year to haunted houses. She can't get enough of it. Andy hates them. And this year he is compelled by his boss, forced to go by his boss to attend the Universal Studios haunted house Walking Dead. And what I want you to do for him, for Andy, this is the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. And I want you to watch how he responds to having to do the hardest thing he's ever had to do in his life.
Every October, we send our writer Amy through a haunted house, but this year we decided not to make her do it alone. I sent my brave executive, Andy Lassner, with her, and Andy, I said, you're going to do it. We surprised him and said, as soon as the show's over, you're going, and he really didn't believe us, but he and Amy went to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, and oh my God, this is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in my life.
Just go. Just do it. Just say what you need to say. Hollywood. Say it. Just say it.
I got it, Andy. Hi, we're at Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights, and we're about to go through the Walking Dead maze. Are you ready, Andy?
I'm good. I'm ready.
Andy,
Let's go.
wait. But we know they're coming. We know they're coming.
I see this, so this isn't scary.
No, they're scary. It's
Okay, honey. It's okay. Okay, is it all outside?
No. Probably not.
I can't.
Don't shove me in front of me.
No, just like it's the sudden.
That's the whole point.
Okay, hi. Oh, you're nice. Okay, all right, we're going. Oh, okay. Oh my God, they're weird. Oh no. Okay. It's so stupid. Stop. Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay.
We're good. There's one in here.
I see him.
This is not good.
This is fine.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, it's more like just.
It's not like that.
That's not real.
That's my God. That is.
Are you kidding me? Let's.
He's gonna come back. He'll come back. He'll come back.
This guy.
What are you hiding behind me? You're a man. Be a man. Be a man.
Just let me hold. I am a man and I'm gonna hold you.
There's somebody in here.
No, he's good. What? Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Okay, let's just go. Let's just go. I get it. They come out at you.
Okay. Andy, go. Just go. Just walk. Just walk. Just walk. We're good.
Okay, good. It's quick. We're almost done.
Why are you doing that?
Just because they know you. They know you. They're not gonna do it. I'm a guy. Are we almost done?
There's somebody real in here.
There's no one real.
Okay. Coming back.
Stop it! Stop it now! Okay.
We're good.
Aaron, are we done? Is this done almost?
Oh my God. Why are you making me go first?
I'm not! finished. We're good.
You did good, Andy. I'm proud of you.
Oh, God, that's good.
You did good.
Why do people pay for that? Okay.
Happy Ellen.
Real tough guy there at the end, wasn't he? So, be a man. Why are you standing behind me? I'm protecting you. Anyway, so be a man. And so I watched that video, and I think, that Amy and Andy, it was the most difficult thing in the world for Andy. Not save your emails. I know I'm not supposed to show those kind of videos in church, so you don't have to send it tomorrow. Anyway, you don't have to send it. Waste your time. I already know what you're going to say. So anyway, but Andy does what we all do when we're faced with the most difficult thing in life, right? We try to avoid it. We make excuses. We hide behind other people, let them go first, let them do it so that we don't have to, whenever we're facing the most difficult thing in life ever. For people that belong to an institution or an organization, for people that belong to a church, one of the most difficult things in life that we ever have to do is align ourselves with that church's, that institution's brand. We've been talking about brand for the past couple of weeks. Definition we've been using is a brand is a product, service, cause, or organization with perceived intangible attributes. It's something that you can feel. You can't put in your pocket and buy. It's just something that you feel in your soul. And in fact, every organization, every product, every institution, every church has a brand, but they also go deeper than that. We can go deeper, and we can also name a brand essence. Brand essence is a single intangible attribute that differentiates the brand from competitive brands as perceived by the audience, not as perceived by the board of directors, not as perceived by the pastor or the worship leader, not as perceived by the people in the band or the choir, but as perceived by the audience. Now, you're an audience, but so are the thousands of people that drive down Princess Anne every day, and they look over and they have the picture in their mind. They see Courthouse Community United Methodist Church, and there's a brand that's associated with that. There's an essence as who we are that they feel in their souls. There's the people that come for the food pantry, and they're an audience. There are the people that come for the open gym night for basketball. They're an audience. They're the kids in their family that come for Upward Sports. They're an audience. They're the people that come for the preschool that meets during the week. They're an audience. They're the people that see us whenever we're out doing mission projects around the community at Bird Neck Corridor, wherever we happen to be, and they are our audience. And so a brand essence is that intangible attribute, that single intangible attribute that differentiates the brand from competitive brands as perceived by the audience. It's that essence, that intangible thing that makes Courthouse different than every other church. As we've been wrestling with brand, we've also been using the life of Abraham to help us better understand God's brand, God's essence, and what God is expecting out of us in some way. And if you remember, the story of Abraham takes place in the book of Genesis. The first 11 chapters of Genesis, I've shared before, are these overarching epic stories that are about all humanity. But when you get to chapter 12, you find that God breaks in and God talks to one individual, and in that one individual, God creates a plan, a plan for that person that's going to carry through the rest of the Bible. I love the whole world, and I'm going to use you, Abraham, and the people in your offspring to bless the world. And by blessing, God means I'm going to let them know how much I love them and that there's nothing they can do to make me love them less. And so in Genesis 12, we were there a few weeks ago with Abraham. God tells Abraham to get up and move with his wife. They have no children, but his extended family, the people that work for him, his possessions, and to go somewhere. And we named that one of God's brands is that God calls us to go places where we don't know where we're going. We just are supposed to trust, get up and move. And in that promise that God made to Abraham, God says, I'm going to give you a child. Then last week we talked about how it had been a long time since God had spoken to Abraham and Sarah, and they had reached that place where they had heard that promise from God about having children, and it wasn't happening, so they kind of quit believing that it was ever going to take place. And God came back and reminded them again, and they needed to believe, even in a time when there wasn't much to believe in. And God told them to have a child. And so then we get to our reading for today, which is in Genesis chapter 22. It's a weird story. It's a story that we really don't like to hear in church, kind of like you don't like to hear about zombies and Walking Dead in church. But it's a story that we really don't like to hear in church because it makes us feel very uncomfortable when we read it. Why would God do something like this? But between the last week story and this week, Abraham and Sarah had a baby. They named him Isaac. He was the life of these two. They gave him everything. They loved him. He was their hope, their dream, their plans for the future. They loved him, and they doted on him. They gave him everything. They gave him anything that he wanted. You know parents like that, right, today? And so they gave him anything that he wanted, and he was their whole life. And so we come to our scripture reading for this morning, and we're going to be reading in Genesis chapter 22. And in this reading, God asks Abraham to do the most difficult thing ever that he could ever imagine doing, the hardest thing that he ever had to do. Genesis 22:1. After these things, and if you want to know what these things are, you need to read the story of Genesis because we talk about what an amazing guy Abraham was. He was the founder of the faith and all that, and it's true, but he was a scoundrel. And if you want to read some juicy stories, you need to read the rest of what he did in these stories because we would shake our heads a lot about this. But anyway, after these things, it says, God tested Abraham. God said to him, Abraham? Abraham said, here I am. God said, take your son Isaac that you've been wanting for your whole life, the one you love and dote after and do everything for. Take your son Isaac whom you love and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will show you. Can you imagine what that must have felt like? To have this clear vision from God that this is what God wanted you to do was actually go and sacrifice, kill your son. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, took his son Isaac, and went to the place in the distance that God had shown him. Remember one of God's brands? I'm going to take you to places you don't know where you're going, but you got to trust me. Verse 6. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. And he himself carried the knife, or the fire and the knife, and the two of them walked. Can you imagine? He picked up these sticks, laid them on the back of his son, this one that he had been longing for, that was his hope, his dream, his plans for the future. Everything rested in Isaac, and he put those sticks on his back. And Abraham carried the knife and the fire, and the two of them walked on together. Isaac said to his father, Abraham, Father? Abraham said, here I am, my son. Isaac said, the fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Can you imagine what was going on in Abraham's soul at that moment? This is the hardest thing he ever had to do. Abraham said, God will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. So the two of them walked on together. When they came to the place that God had shown him, Abraham built an altar there, laid the wood on the altar in order, and then he bound his son Isaac. Now there must be some missing parts here that we don't have in Scripture because it seems so calm, right? It seems so passive. They built the altar. They found some rocks. They stacked them up. They put the sticks on top of it. The fire was there waiting. The knife was there waiting. And in this, it just seemed so calm, but it wasn't. There must have been something else going on. Abraham took his son and tied him up and put him there on top of the altar, on top of the wood. Verse 10. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And then Abraham said, here I am. The angel said, do not lay your hand on your boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham looked up and he saw a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. It's a story that we don't really like to read in church because it makes us uncomfortable. What kind of God would do this? We have to understand that this story was written thousands of years ago, written at a time before, and the story took place before there even was a written language, and the story was told around campfires orally, over and over, generation from generation from generation. And so it was told in a time and written in a time where human sacrifice was more common than it is today. So we have to kind of step back and kind of understand this is what was going on in that day and that time. It's not a story to advocate that God somehow has an opinion about human sacrifice. We know God does, and it's not this. So we have to look beneath that story and find out what's really going on in this story. And here's what's really going on, that God sometimes expects us, this is a God brand, God sometimes expects us to do the most difficult thing in our life. That God sometimes expects us to give up everything. And what God said to Abraham in that moment is, when I know that you're serious about this connecting with me, when you're willing to give it all up for me, then in that moment I will empower you to do amazing things. Bless the world. Somehow when love speaks, love empowers God's people. And so in this story, we get a glimpse of the brand of God, the essence of God, and somehow it speaks to our brand and our essence. Remember, a brand is a product, service, cause, or organization with perceived intangible attributes. You can't buy them. You can't pick it up off a shelf. You can't put it in your pocket. It's something you feel in your soul about a place that you go into, or a commercial that you see, or a church that you worship in. It's that brand, that intangible that's spoken about it. But then we move deeper into this and we come to try to figure out the brand essence that makes us different or unique from any other church. And so the brand essence is the single intangible attribute that differentiates the brand from competitive brands as perceived by the audience. What's that one unique essence, that one unique intangible attribute that makes Courthouse different than any other church? Because God created us almost 30 years ago to be something and do something, and God had a plan for us in that moment that was different than the church across the street or the church around the corner or the church across the city. That we're supposed to do something for God. Because implied in a brand essence is a promise to that audience that's watching us. The essence of branding is your implied promise to the audience. It's your implied promise to the people who would interact with you. It's that implied promise as people drive down Princess Anne of what they can experience and expect from Courthouse. It's the implied promise for those who come to the food pantry or the open gym or the upward sports or the preschool or the Sunday school or the trunk or treat tonight and the fall festival. What's that implied promise about who Courthouse is to the audience? You see, Abraham heard this word from God, and he was already late in life, well into retirement. And he was kind of settled. He was kind of satisfied. And then he heard this word from God that somehow helped him understand better that brand, that essence of who God is. I'm going to call you to go someplace, and you don't know where you're going, and you got to trust me. But if you go there, and if you do what I want you to do, you will bless the world. You'll share with the world how much I love them. And there's nothing that anybody can ever do to make God love us less. That's the promise. And so Abraham took off. But then whenever you're in that mode and suddenly you shift direction, sometimes in that shifting, when you do it long enough, it becomes the normal operating procedure. And Abraham and Sarah, they still held to the promise intellectually, but that intangible attribute of God about the baby coming, they'd given up on that a long time ago. And so God had to come back and remind him one more time, don't forget. Don't laugh at me, Sarah. I've called you to do amazing things. Don't give up on me. And today, Abraham and Isaac, what a story. We don't like to hear these kind of stories in the church because it makes us feel uncomfortable. What kind of God would do this? But what's the core underneath the story? The part of God's brand, part of God's essence, is that God expects us to do very difficult things in life, being willing to sacrifice everything for this God who calls us. And so we've been wrestling with what is the brand here at Courthouse for the past few weeks. And the question we've been asking is, what's that implied promise in the Courthouse brand essence? What do I want it to be? Is it really what I want it to be, or do I want something different? And the third one is, and here's for today, what do I need to do, or more importantly, what do I need to change if I'm going to align myself with the promise, with the brand essence, the implied promise? You see, one of the things that we've been wrestling with, and you're smart people here, you get it, is who are we at Courthouse? And one of the questions being asked is, how does knowing our brand essence impact our ministries? And what are those things, second question, what are those things that differentiate us from other churches in the area? You're getting it. I had a big meeting with some people on Friday here at the church, and they were wrestling with this brand stuff. We've been talking about it because they understood what that meant, that if we truly have this essence from God, this uniqueness that makes us different from all other churches, and God is the one who gave that to us, and God is calling us to do something, then we need to align our ministries, and we need to prioritize our ministries to focus on that essence of who we are, what our audience expects us to be. But more importantly, Friday they told me, does that mean that we might have to quit doing some things that we're currently doing that don't align with the essence? Yes. Now, in that room with those people, there was this breath of freedom. I don't have to do everything. No. We might very well be doing some things here at Courthouse that other churches need to be doing because it's part of their brand, their essence, who they happen to be. And there's some things that we're doing that we need to ramp up. We need to prioritize more. We need to resource more. We need to resource in money and time and energy and people and volunteers and resource more so that we can suddenly leverage that to enhance our brand, our essence, that intangible that people perceive when they see us, that intangible that God created us to be. Now, you can help with this. I've been talking about it for the past few weeks, that you can go to the website, the link on the front of the bulletin, and take a questionnaire because you're part of the audience. You need to share what your feelings are. What are those intangibles? And so the vision team here at Courthouse has worked with some people, and they have put this together, worked with a brand consultant, and they put this together so that you can give them some feedback. And if you don't want to do it at home and you don't want to do it hard copy, you can go to the fellowship hall today because there's some people there and a whole bank of computers, and you can go and take the questionnaire, and they'll help you through it. And then we're going to pull all that information together, and it's going to help us have a better understanding of what our essence is. But, most of us probably could name it. I mean, most of us could name it. How many churches get 150 people to go out to Trailer City on a hot July day to let people know that God loves them? Not many. Something about that in the essence. So you need to go and take that survey because once we figure out who our essence is, what our essence is, and who we really are and who God created us to be, we need to be that. Offline, online, consistently, all the time. We need to be that all the time. The story of Abraham and Isaac in the Old Testament is kind of an uncomfortable story, but it really is part of who God is, what God expects of us. We see it echoed again late in the Bible, in the New Testament, in Matthew 22, where Jesus says, this is what a relationship with me looks like, that you're to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul. You're to love me with everything. And you see, coming to church once a week, not quite it. Reaching in the back of the pantry and pulling out that can of something that you decide you don't like anymore and bringing it for the food pantry, not quite it. Reaching in your pocket to see what's left over and putting a couple dollars in the offering plate, not quite it. God asked Abraham to do the most difficult thing he could ever imagine doing. Matthew 22, this is what you're supposed to do if you follow me. Love me with everything. All your time, all your energy, all your priorities, all your hopes, all your dreams, all your money. Everything. And when that happens, God says, then I will empower you to bless the world. To let the world know that I love them. And I'm willing to sacrifice everything for them. So I invite you to do something that's difficult today. Go to the fellowship hall. Have a donut. Get a cup of coffee. Buy a can of peanuts. Sign a card. And then answer a couple questions. I know it's difficult because most of you in this room haven't done it yet. And you remember Andy, we avoid the things that are most difficult in life. I know that. Or we let somebody else face them first, right? Just go to the fellowship hall today. Take that step. Because God has created and called a Courthouse to change this world. to do something amazing that is so different from every other church in this community. And that's why God placed us here. Not to be like a carbon copy of down the street, but to live out our essence as we share God's love. Pray with me. God, we gather here this morning as your people. We really like coming to church on Sundays and hearing about how much you love us. Makes us feel good. But then when we start to hear that you also expect us to love you, and we know we know how we treat people we love. We spend time with them, we sacrifice for them, we give anything for them, we dote over them. God, we know what it's like to love someone, and loving you is difficult. But part of who you are is that you call us to step out in faith and do those difficult things in life. Those things that we avoid, those things that we push others to do in front of us, those things that we hide so that we don't have to do. Give us courage. Give us strength, because you have called us in this church. And you have gifted us with this essence of you that is different from any other church in this community. And God, you want us to be that essence all the time. Help us. We need it. Help us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I invite you to stand and let us sing.